Advent by Gaynor Jones. Chloe presses her nail around the foil and pushes out the chocolate. Today it's a present, a flat square with a moulded ribbon crossed over it to make 4 more squares. As it melts in her mouth, she opens her bedside drawer and peeks at the mirror in there. It's an oval, the mirror, but with a long, thin handle. She wonders if she should put it in a box. It might be easier than trying to wrap it in paper. She closes the drawer, then folds the advent calendar card back over and looks at the black number on the penguin's red hat. 23 days until Christmas. Chloe doesn't need an advent calendar to tell her that, though. Maths is her best subject. Everyone supposed it would be English because of her mother, and Miss Walker still seems disappointed every time she hands Chloe's work back. Her mother doesn't mind that Chloe isn't good at thinking up stories. She says it's important to be her own person. But Chloe is good at making up stories, just not at writing them down. She keeps them in her head, her own little stack of daydreams to work through when she's bored, which is a lot. The children around her spend their break time scrolling through phones. Chloe has a phone, of course, but she prefers to spend her time with other things, older things. Like the mirrors in her mother's bedroom. There's a wooden dressing table in there, covered with small, round mirrors in fancy cases. Compacts, they're called. But Chloe likes the ones on the wall. She likes to stand at the foot of the bed and gaze into them all. Round, square, oval, oblong, and then their favourite, the one Chloe's mother bought when she sold her first book. The frame is a gold arch with twisted vines and berries and shapes that Chloe pretends are snakes, slithering around the glass, which is huge and polished to a shine. Chloe's mother used to buy a mirror every time she got good news, and then Chloe would see her standing and smiling into them. It's been a long time since she's bought herself a mirror. Chloe heads to the bathroom to brush her teeth. Their small yard backs right onto the trains, and one's going past now, rattling the walls. She'd like to go on one someday, a trip to London to see all the sights. Someday. She sighs, puts her toothbrush back in the pot, and walks along the landing, listening to the kettle bubble on the stove downstairs. Her mother says it tastes better than a plug-in, but Chloe knows it's not that. She just likes being able to use another old thing. It's not about the cost, they're not poor. In fact, sometimes older things are more expensive than newer, like that hand mirror. The label said £35, but Chloe, of course, paid much less than that. The two of them visit the antiques village every weekend, and her mother goes alone much more than that, wandering around, hoping for a new story to come. Chloe likes to wander the place too. It's quiet there, not like school with its screeching bells and chattering children. Chloe pretends the village is her own grand house, that she has friends, people who like the same things she does, and that she invites them over. She pretends that they gasp as she shows them the painted green tiles all along the walls, the stained glass perched above the wooden doors, and then there's her favourite part. Up the stairs, not right to the top, just halfway, a whole wall of windows and a cabinet full of treasures, vases and figures and toys. This is where Chloe found the mirror. She saw the reverse of it first. It's not gold like their favourite, it's black, but it is engraved, with swirls and leaves and flowers, and there's something there in the centre of the engravings, some sort of symbol. Chloe can't quite fathom it. She thinks perhaps it's a face, 2 eyes and an open mouth, but then at other times it looks more like a door, with 2 beckoning lights above it. She should be getting her school uniform on by now, but instead Chloe opens her drawer and again takes out the mirror. She runs her fingers over that engraving again and again, tracing the lines that don't ever go anywhere. Soothing. She takes the mirror over to the small bedroom window and holds it up, making light dance against the opposite wall. Chloe, are you up? Her mother usually lets her alone in the mornings, but today there are footsteps coming up the stairs. Chloe jams the mirror behind her back, but winces when she hears it slip from her hands, landing between the wall and the wooden box full of spare bedding. There's a knock on the door, then her mother's tired face peering around. Going shopping tonight. Just checking you've got your key. Yeah. They smile at each other. The small, light smiles of two people who really don't have that much to smile about. Chloe glances at her uniform, then at the heavy wooden box. Tonight. She can retrieve the mirror tonight, when the house is empty, when her mother is gone. School isn't far, but Chloe takes her time walking home at the end of the day. Most houses have Christmas trees shining in their windows. Some even have twinkling lights in the gardens, threaded around the bushes and plant pots. There are no lights when Chloe arrives home. She lets herself in and picks up the post from the mat, then stacks it with the rest that piles unopened on the bottom step. Upstairs, she crouches on the carpet, forces her hand between the box and the wall. She grasps the handle and pulls it out, but the relief does not last. A jagged line runs right through the mirror's centre. No, oh no, bloody trains. Chloe slumps to the bed, her spirit as broken as the glass. She won't find another like it, not in time for Christmas, maybe not ever. She takes a deep breath, then properly surveys the damage. That's when she sees it. The glass is not the only thing that has split in two. The bedroom in the reflection has too. One side shows it as it is, with plain white walls and that small patch of damp that persists no matter how many times her mother paints over it. But the other side shows walls of daffodil yellow paint and shelves spilling over with books and toys. Chloe turns around abruptly, but behind her is the same old wall, a faded map pinned with all the places she plans to visit one day. Chloe turns back to the mirror, to the wall, the mirror, the wall, and then the door, because she's heard a knock there, clear as a whistle. She rises and opens the door, but of course there's no one in the hallway. Her mother is out shopping. And yet, knock, knock, knock. Chloe lifts the mirror and tilts it so she can see the bedroom door in it. On her side, the door remains closed, silent, but in the yellow room the door swings open, and a woman cranes her neck into the room. Mum? Chloe presses her fingers to the glass to her mother's smiling, happy face. Course it's me. Who else would it be? The room around her is so bright it's like the sun has fallen into it. Chloe watches her mother step over to the bookshelves and pull one out, the mirror tilted to follow her around the room. Other things come into view as she turns it, a large white teddy bear with a green ribbon around its neck, a wooden wardrobe with moons and stars carved into the doors. She flicks her eyes to the other side of the mirror and there is her room, white grey walls with splotches of brown damp. The mirror mother talks as she walks, breezy and confident. So, you've got everything you need. I baked biscuits today, but put the lid back on if you take one out so they stay fresh. Chloe blinks at the idea of her mother baking. She shakes her head. Blackwell's closes at 6, but the event might go on a little later than that. I'll definitely be home for 7 though, so see you then. The mirror mother smiles and clasps a book close to her chest. Unless you want to come with me. Chloe shakes her head again. Right then, I'm off. See you tonight. The door closes and it's quiet in the yellow room. Chloe holds the mirror in one hand and covers half the glass. She's startled by her own face, clear skin and bright eyes, the yellow walls shining behind her. Then she swaps her hands, covers the yellow half, and there she is in her own bedroom, her cheeks flushed red as though she's been running. There's a flash of something behind her, a streak of a shadow, but when she turns, there's nothing there. Perhaps a train shaking the leaves around the street lamps. Chloe glances at the clock on her bedside table. It's only 4:30. I'll be back by 7, the mirror mother said. Chloe sits down on her bed, rests her back against the pillows and stares at the yellow room in the mirror. And stares, and stares, and stares. Chloe? Chloe, where the hell have you been? What? Chloe's mother pulls her up, rough, cold hands on her shoulders. I called the bloody police and they said you were probably with a friend, but I said... She lets Chloe go. It doesn't matter what I said. Where have you been? I haven't been anywhere. What do you mean? Jesus Christ, Chloe, don't you think I've got enough stress in my life without you? She carries on, but Chloe has stopped listening. The mirror is face down on the bed, her mother oblivious to it. Chloe carefully tugs at the duvet, thinking to hide it. She doesn't notice the marks on the bedding on either side of the handle. 2 faded handprints, pale grey like charcoal, like something's been burned into the sheets. Christmas holidays. So much to look forward to. If Chloe had continued with her advent calendar, had scoured each number, devoured each chocolate, she would see that today it is a mere 9 days until Christmas. But Chloe has been distracted. The mirror is back in the bedside drawer and she's only looked at it once or twice, surely no more than 3 times. She drags herself out of bed, limbs aching, eyes wincing against the light. She roots around in her school bag until she finds what she is after. Maths is her best subject. Chloe knows just where to press the mirror, how it will fracture, where it will split. She holds the compass tight in her hand, point down. The mirror rests on her knee, one side, yellow paint, brightness, the other, damp walls, her tired face. She puts the tip of the compass to the glass and bangs it quick, and it works. There's a new split now, a new room. In this one, the walls are pink with bright bunting hung around, and there's someone in there. Her back to Chloe, her hair the same mousy brown but longer. She's crouched on the floor with a tin teapot in one hand and a tin mug in the other. She's made a circle of teddy bears and put lace napkins in front of them, and when she turns and grins, Chloe grins back, and when the girl waves, Chloe waves back, laughing at her sister. Chloe, I can't take this, I can't. Chloe's mother's hands are too hard on her and her skin feels wrong, itchy, like the bones are poking through, trying to find their way out. Is it drugs? Tell me, Chloe, please. Drugs? What? Chloe shakes her head and the pale walls blur around her. There's that shadow again. Just her mother's shadow, that's all. Just her mother. The penguins on the advent calendar stare and leer, their doors unopened, and something stirs in Chloe like a word caught in her throat. Chloe, you've been gone for days. I can't handle this. I don't understand. Chloe nods, but her neck feels slack and her chin falls to her chest like she doesn't have the strength to keep it up. There's grey marks on the rug beneath her feet, 10 little dots like fingerprints, but before Chloe can look any closer, she sees the mirror. The top of it sticks out from where she's hidden it under the bed. That carved symbol. How did she ever think it was a face? Chloe knows now for certain. It's a door. In the kitchen, there's a feast Chloe can almost smell, mince pies and bright tarts and steaming potatoes and even one of those prawn rings Chloe has seen on the TV. When her mother ignites the pudding, a shadow flickers on the wall behind her. In the living room, a huge tree sweeps over the rug, branches weighed down with baubles and tinsel and gold foil crackers. There's piles of presents on the floor, crisply wrapped, and Chloe longs to unwrap them to see what's inside. Twinkling lights blink on and off, and something flitters in the dark moments. In the backyard, snow falls thick and soft like the marshmallows that float in the hot chocolate perched on the windowsill. Snowballs fly through the air and Chloe's mother and sister laugh and laugh. A snowman watches over them, its nose long and orange, its eyes black. The mirror slips from Chloe's hand. Maths is her best subject, but she can't count these shards. There's so many of them, so many. She bends to pick one, but she's weak. Her lips are dry and she couldn't talk even if she wanted to. A train rumbles past, but there's another noise beneath it, the sound of a person crying. Chloe stumbles to the back door, through the hallway. She pulls herself on the banister, legs trembling beneath her until she makes it to the top of the stairs. The crying is louder now, coming from the room on the right, her mother's bedroom. She knows that. Her mother sits on the bed, her head in her hands. Behind her mother, Chloe sees the wall of mirrors. There's their favourite. The frame is a gold arch with twisted vines and berries and shapes that Chloe pretends are snakes slithering around the glass, which is huge and polished to a shine. But Chloe steps into the room, moving closer and closer to the glass until her fingers are pressed against it. Behind her, her mother still sits, still weeps. But when Chloe looks into the mirror, she doesn't see anything at all.
Ghosts at the Old Library, a series of 6 short stories by local writers Marie Crook, Nicholas Royal, Gaynor Jones, Deanna Shepherd, Lauren O'Donoghue and Joe Howard, produced by Levenshulme Old Library and ALLFM, music by Oscilloscope, made possible with funding from the Arts Council, and creative director Richard Hirst.